I met Verge because me and Crystal, we would hang out and he would watch the babies, things like that. We were young, we were like in our early 20s, and Crystal and I, we worked together at another business together, and I was her boss. And then unfortunate things happened and both of us ended up getting let go. My feeling at that time was that, here I have this like single mom, and I felt a little guilty because she was kind of defending me and, things like that. And so I was like, why don't we just rent a little room or something somewhere and we could split it? It was never supposed to be like a business partnership. It was just, we've got to figure this out. Like we were broke. Like we weren't going to get unemployment. He was fighting us tooth and nail, so we were kind of like, well, what do we do? We found this little place on Craigslist, and they wanted to run like a credit check on us. Verge didn't even second guess it. He co-signed for us, and he was just so proud of her and proud of me, and just kind of brought us together in that way where he believed in us. And when that business opened, it was just successful from the get-go.
He was definitely proudest to be a veteran. I loved when we would be out anywhere, like we'd get breakfast pretty often, and he'd be in his veteran hat, and every other veteran he'd see, he'd go ask about all their experiences and have a long convos with them. And I love to see how he would just talk to strangers like he's known them his whole life, and I want to try to be like that in my future, because I'm not really like that with strangers,
I'm actually a neighbor of Verge, but I know him, he's a good friend of mine.
We've known him for many, many, many years. Yeah, since they moved here.
Like 1972?
No, that's when Andrea was born.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like 78.
Yeah.
She must have been like 5 or 6, around there.
Of course, what we did was we became really good friends within the family and everybody. We happened to baptize one of their kids, which is JJ. So we're actually compadres.
He took me to Disneyland for the first time. We went to a family friend of ours, Derek's military. He graduated from boot camp, and Pops really wanted to go, so we went. I have brief memory of the graduation itself. I remember going in like the shops and everything. I want to say I was maybe like 8, 7 to 10, somewhere within that age. And then after we went with my cousin and his brother to Disneyland. For my grandpa to take me to Disneyland for the first time, it was pretty cool. I mean, I remember that trip, the Disneyland part of it, really well. It was really cool.
One thing in common that me and Verge had is that we were veterans. He was a Marine and I was an Army paratrooper, and I used to tease him about that. That who was tougher, Marines or the paratroopers? Yeah, but that was all friendly. And he served overseas. He was a combat veteran. Whenever we called him, asking for a favor, he'd actually come, real happy. In other words, he was never in a bad mood, You call him, hey, Verge, you got a minute? Yeah, what do you need, Phil? Yeah, this and that. Oh yeah, I'll be over there. And he'd get up and run. He'd run up to the house. We live about
2 houses.
2 houses down.
When we come, we drive. But when he'd go, he'd just run.
Well, he was a marathon.
But he was a runner, yeah.
So he used to love to do that.
We ran at Toro Park, and it was fun. It was kind of one of those things where I was not a runner, and I was kind of like, well, I mean, if I throw up, then fine. He was always very supportive. And then after that, we just kept meeting up at races, or he would text me if I didn't run at a certain race. He's like, hey, you got to try the San Jose one that we just did. It was really fun. Or, hey, how'd you do on your run? He's always texting me to see how we were doing, race-wise, or if I'm still running.
We would go to breakfast. That's like probably what we did together the most. And, when I was a kid, we started off Denny's. We would go to Denny's. But, my taste buds matured, and went different places. So these past like few years, we was always First Awakenings, and Selena's right there in downtown. So yeah, I went there once since he passed with my sisters, and you know, I drink a black coffee for him.
That he would always remember your birthday. He'd always put it down your calendar. He'd always call, hey, I see that on my calendar, you've got a birthday coming, or you've got a birthday today. Happy birthday.
He'd call all of us,
Yeah.
all our family, even our kids. He called all of us for our birthdays. Yeah, never missed.
I try to, you know, kind of be funny when I said, your birthday today, isn't it? I said, I don't think so, Virgil. You must be mistaken. No, man, my calendar says it's your birthday today. I said, yeah, you got it, brother. Yeah. Okay.
And it was cool that he was just down the street. Sometimes I'd be driving home and I see him like outside, reading his book, drinking coffee, and pull a U-turn, come up and see what's up real quick. That's something I'm definitely gonna miss. You know, it's hard to drive by his house now and not see his truck right there. Yeah, that's really hard actually. That's something that recently has affected like driving by. It's really hard trying to go around. But
He had everything scheduled. He did his thing. Yeah, I mean, like clockwork.
Committed to his grandkids.
Yeah.
He was real committed to them. Yeah.
Very much.
Well done. He's just happy. He's a happy guy.
Well, God got a good, happy man. Yeah.
My brothers and sisters, we believe that all the ties of love which knit us as one throughout our lives do not unravel with death. Confident that God always remembers the good we have done and forgives our sins, let us pray, asking God to grant forgiveness to Himself.
We're gathered here today to pay respects to Mr. Cortez and his family under the banner of the Patriot Guard Riders. We're a group made up of American Legion riders. The Kanaka Motorcycle Club is here. We have some non-aligned riders. But one thing we have in common is respect for veterans. And given the tragic nature of this death and the ability for us to come out and pay our final respects, it means a lot to us to be here.
Virgin I met, I don't know, maybe my kids probably knew the Cortez family even before I did. But back late 80s, I think, we met. And immediately it was like male attraction, you know. Have you ever felt that way about another guy? It was, there's a magnetism about the guy, you know.
He saw me one day wearing makeup. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he came in and he saw me with makeup on. I snuck it out of the house and I put it on when I got to work. He saw me with it on and he said I didn't have to wear it, that I was beautiful enough without it. And that stuck with me. And I didn't wear makeup after that because my brother shared that with me. And I think I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for just the person. He saw me for who I was, and he accepted me for who I was. He didn't try to change me. He didn't try to persuade me into any other direction. He truly saw me for who I was, and he accepted me that way. And I'm very grateful for that. I really am. And I miss him, and I will miss him for a very long time.
Riders, tin hit. Preset. Mark. Forward. Forward. Ready. Fire. Ready. Fire. Ready. Fire. Set. Fire. Order, march. Parade, rest.
My name is Crystal. I'm the daughter and the baby. I just first off want to thank you all for being here, and just seeing you all is just a testament to how amazing my dad was and how he touched every one of our lives. I forget that he's not just my dad. I forget that he's a friend, he's a brother, he's a brother-in-law, a deal. He's so many things to so many people. And I'm grateful that you all got to have a piece of him because he really was a great man. He helped me tremendously just going to school when I thought that I couldn't go on anymore. He was always there telling me that education was never a waste and that he wanted us to do better. He was always just my number one fan. And he could take a joke, but he could also tell a joke. And so it was great. A lot of people looked at our relationship, probably thought we were a little weird because we would always be capping on each other, but it was all in love. Like for one example, he was talking about like a stereo surround sound, right? He's like, oh, but then they wanted sound surround. And I'm like, you mean surround sound? He's like, oh, whatever. But he, couldn't live that down. And there were plenty more, I just can't think of them. But he's a jokester. He could take it and he could give it too. So I'm just grateful that he passed that humor down to us and a lot of his siblings and nieces and nephews. We all have a little bit of piece of him. But I'm gonna miss him terribly. But we're gonna make him proud and do right by him. Because that's what he wanted. He wouldn't want us to be sad. He would want us to keep going and live life to the fullest, because that's what he did. So I just thank you all. Go out and live your life like my dad would, because I'm going to try to be a nice person too, so I expect everyone to do the same. But thank you all again.
We didn't see each other very much, and I thought it was kind of cool because we didn't really have to. I mean, we talked on the phone sometimes, we'd run into each other, sometimes in the store, and I always went away with a really good feeling that would last for a long time. It was like a glow. And I mean, you see his images everywhere here today, and you never see him with a frown. You never see, it's always a smile on his face. I thought it was special because he used to call me on my birthday every year, December 7th. And he'd wake me up. Sometimes I'd be hungover. But I knew when the phone rang, it wasn't my kids. I knew it was Virg. And just recently, when I called my kids to let them know the sad news, they all wept. But my oldest, Yvette, she said, I just talked to him. He called me for my birthday.
I really loved him.
Yeah.
It really hurts to see him gone.
No one really knows the story of how we opened our business, and because it is one of the most successful businesses in the spa industry in our county. And it wasn't until I told our landlord like what had happened that he says, I remember him, he co-signed for you guys. And I just started crying. I'm like, oh my God, he did. That one key factor of a person made such an impact, that ripple effect they talk about, right? Virg holds such a huge part in that business and forever will. Yeah. I'm gonna cry.
Family's gonna be all right. I think it's, we gotta smile more. We gotta smile to each other. We gotta hug each other. He gave some good hugs, good aggressive hugs. And yeah, we just, life's too short. You just gotta love who you have when you have them.
it's very rare that you remember a face, a smile, a voice, mannerisms, and his hat always like half pointed up. I'll never forget him. Always carry him in my heart forever. That's it. Gonna miss you, compa. Please look over us while we're still here. See you later.